destiny. Destiny.
Welcome to YouTube audience as well. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Valorant Challenger South Asia. As we move on towards the players walking, we've got Flamin and Easy on the screen.
Flamin, my god, he struck 3 poses, dude. He really is excited for this walkout. I'm sure the rest of his teammates will follow in the same enthusiasm. Or maybe not. Sometimes they just want to mind their business and get the game started as quickly as possible. But hey, on every other occasion, they are always ready to offer us some entertainment. Reckoning, on the other hand, they can be entertaining in the game as well. The way they keep things fresh, it has been really mouth-watering the way they play. Sometimes their agent pickups are wild, they might go for the Phoenix or the Chamber, and sometimes their defaults just keep on variating quite a lot, so that's incredible. Metal, on the other hand, like I said, just like Reckoning, can also variate the defaults every now and then, but probably not as flashy as Reckoning have been so far.
Considering Harsh is the only man who plays controller inside this entire roster, I feel like he might also have a lot of pressure. Because usually we see those double controllers being utilized on inside VCSA. We're seeing that being happen quite often. But Harsh being the only man who plays a lot of controller, and he's the only man who plays that controller role, I feel like he's going to have a lot of pressure. Because imagine, if you're a controller, you peek out first and you die, your team's not going to have your smokes to either retake the site or take the site away from your opponent's hands if you're going to be on the attack. So controller role is one of the most important roles, and so far we've seen Harsh play only ASTER because we've only seen Reckoning Esports play one. So I'm pretty sure Hirsch probably has a lot much more other agents mastered underneath his sleeves, and we're just waiting for him to reveal all those agents soon enough in the future as well. Reckoning Esports, the entire roster is in front of us. Metal Esports as well. They seem locked in and ready. We are going to be heading inside the map select soon enough. But what are your speculations? Are you going to be expecting a similar basic map select, or you think any other thing's going to happen?
I think it's gonna be one of those days, Necro. It's gonna be one of those days where the map pool is predictable. But luckily for us, the agent pool isn't, so I'm still not that dejected by the fact that we might just get to see Haven in Ascent again. I think the third map might be entertaining. I definitely think there's gonna be either a Pearl or the Lotus in action. Actually, no, not Lotus. I'm being a bit too ambitious over here. I'm asking a bit too much of these teams. We'll definitely get to see either a Pearl or hopefully even an Icebox in the mix. Nice, thank God. Yes, finally. Yeah, dude, I am so excited for this one. I had lost all hope. I had lost all hope of seeing Lotus in this series. And I was like, yeah, just another week with Crips not being able to cast Lotus, even though it's been here for a while. And this will definitely be exciting, dude. This is going to be my personally first game of Lotus. So I'm really excited to get this cast underway. Pearl, of course, I expected it to be picked up in the series, but I thought it would be picked up last. I was surprisingly, struck by this Pearl map pick to begin with. That's quite nice. Yep, I said it. Reckoning will be always the ones to innovate. And at least a Harbor Viper is one of those combinations that we have seen in VCT Lock-in before. In fact, we've seen it plenty of times in VCT Pacific as well. So, yes, Reckoning Esports are innovating, but not like wild innovating to the extent like True Rippers did. You remember what they did, right? With that whole Phoenix and Reyna on Icebox, they kind of overcooked it. But Reckoning are doing just the right amount of innovation, and I'm a big fan of that. Something, yeah. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. First contact taken. We head towards the B side fast and quickly. Metal Esports have this toxin screen up just to delay them, but Reckoning send their high tide through. They activate their own Viper screen as well. So this is 2 layers of walls that Metal Esports have to combat against Reckoning Esports, and it's completely okay because the Nanoswarms do quite a lot of the heavy lifting. And here comes the backstab to Spike Plant, not possible. Reckoning Esports are trapped in the back of sight. Flamin has a golden opportunity. He gets the timing. He can hear all their footsteps, so he knows that MLT Esports have already snuck in. But he needs to be quick. If he isn't, then Hirsch will be left all alone. But he's more than capable of handling himself. And now the double peek comes through as well. Reckoning Esports, their timing is beautiful. I guess they just wanted to use the cascades of the harbor quite frequently and then use the sky guiding light to burst out of it. And the fact that the sky flashes can now regenerate, it just gives them an extra flash to work with in case Reckoning Esports are going for a hit very late in the round. This seems to be quite a fast commitment from them this time though. High Tide's used and so is the Cove. So the harbor utility means that Reckoning Esports will be uncontested on the plot, but in a 5v5 retake, MLT Esports can come from a lot of different places. Look at their spread out. Quite a slow start for MLT Esports, but hey, they've got plenty of time to bounce back. This isn't really a cause for concern right now, and the fact that Reckoning Esports can keep this run pretty clean, it's great because it shows that Reckoning Esports are also ready for all these kind of flanks. At this point, MLT Esports are just testing the waters. You know, they're trying to flank in from everywhere, and they're trying to see what the post plants of Reckoning look like. If they plant on A, then do they play heavily towards secret, or are they the kind of team that likes to fall back towards A main or something? So they want to witness that. This is still quite a good round for Reckoning Esports. They neutralize the advantage for now. Trades galore. And the moment the dust settles, it's still a 3v3, so we are back to square one. In fact, even the HP is similar. Hirsch is down to very little HP, so is Kakarot, and Ezzy might just catch them in the middle of healing, but Flappin still wills the duel. That's amazing.
Still though, 3 players stacked outside B main. And as we've got
last player standing.
every single player just stacking outside B, yeah, they finally make it in, and that's going to be a clean up from Reckoning Esports. Things are looking pretty nice, and every single player from Reckoning Esports are looking quite happy.
Nice tracking, even through all that utility. Reckoning Esports did show us a little bit of concern when they first lost their picks, but then the comfort with which Reckoning Esports are just peeking out of their own toxin screen, just pushing out of their own utility, catching MLT Esports off guard as they try to navigate their way in between the Harbor and the Viper utility. Those walls are just kind of getting in their way. And yes, it's a bit scrappy way to get an advantage, but it is a way. So Reckoning aren't complaining right now.
Dash is being popped as well. And every single player's now starting to make it on the B side. B side control taken away once again. Reckoning Esports are just making it look so easy. Just casual stroll on a summer, stay on the B site. And no one's able to resist against him. And once again, as the opponents are being forced on an eco, it's just going to be an easy cleanup.
Timing. Catwalk gets that kill.
Player standing.
Oh, could have been another one as well, but Deadly 10 will get the better of them. There's not too many losses that Reckoning Esports will suffer in this round. This was supposed to be a round where Metal just do economic damage and Reckoning keep it clean. That's the one thing that they needed to do.
Speak about that. And Reckoning Esports, they get another round in the hand. Deadly 10 had a 4K for himself. But definitely this little shuffle that Reckoning Esports has brought inside the play, I'm pretty sure it's going to catch Metal Esports off guard. They probably did not expect this sort of an agent composition against them, considering what they played last time against Lethal Esports is not even close to this. So Reckoning Esports is definitely one of those teams that has been able to play those mind games so far right off the bat. And Metal Esports, they're not able to find any sort of answers or any sort of reply to this entire switch up they've brought.
Oh, Sticky ignoring the cascade. Flash still gets him, but Reckoning only find out that there's somebody present. They don't find out exactly how many are there. And as a fact, Reckoning Esports going towards A right now, all of them from A main, that too, is a big gamble. They choose not to go towards R. In this, they're just rushing it down. This is a full-blown execute, which Easy can't escape.
Careful.
First pick being utilized too. And a Hirsch, of course, on the side with his teammate. Every single player from Reckoning Esports is just stacked inside that Viper's pit. If anyone decides to step inside the Viper's pit, he's going to be greeted with a lot of guns on his face. So you better be quite careful with that one. Lockdown been invested too. It's going to go off. Nothing being found so far. And Metal Esports, they're going to go for a save because Stricky's got an operator in the hand. That's quite a hefty investment.
Yeah, and it's great that Metal Esports are also starting to save now, because if they don't, they will fall into that good old trend of eco one round, buy one round, eco one round, and then it's just a perennial cycle of misery and unfortunate poverty situations. I'm glad that Metal Esports get to continue with these weapons. This is a good number of weapons saved. But yes, you still have to address the elephant in the room. You can't let Reckoning run away with such a big lead. At 3-0 it was still fine, but 5-0, yeah, now it's a bit of a concern, and it's a good time for Metal to take a timeout.
Yeah. Things that Metal Esports really brought to the table aren't working out. And Reckoning Esports, they're just running through, unchained and untamed. Metal Esports, the coach is definitely doing a lot of heavy talkings, but still, how much that talking is going to affect in game, that's what really matters. So hopefully this timeouts we're gonna be seeing a lot of changes in the upcoming rounds, because you're not gonna have a lot of those timeouts left if these rounds keep on slipping away from your hands. Before now, Reckoning Esports, one thing's for sure, with this type of a solid start, they're definitely gonna have some smiles on their faces.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have all seen this composition from Reckoning before, right? The Harbor Viper composition. If you guys were keenly watching VCT Lock-In, there's really only one way to counter this kind of a composition, is to just ignore the Harbor utility, play ahead of it, get one pick or two, and then fall back as quickly as possible. Because the whole idea behind having a Harbor in your team is so that you can push in as close as possible without actually having to pick up a fight. And the only time that Reckoning will fight is when they're pushing out of their own Harbor utility and hoping to go for some flash picks. That was quite a creative boost up though from Flappin. Doesn't find anything, but still I appreciate the creativity.
Not a lot of presence shown so far.
Here. Scout destroyed.
Things are taking quite slow. A huge change in the pace from the side of Reckoning Esports. This time, they're not trying to brute force their way in. But Tricky and the operator's quite aggressive, finds the first opening, but he doesn't have dash available, so he cannot even dash away. The Cloud Burst will be utilized, but Boyan will cut him off instantly. MLT Esports, Trick has been taken down, the operator's out the board, and now Fox is the only man left on the side trying to pull something off, but this time we're just seeing that resistance. We're seeing that counter being pulled off from MLT Esports. They're really trying to fight for the map control.
Placing alarm bot.
Oh yes, they are, and they're doing it quite well. The tactical timeout pays off. It pays off many dividends. There's even a backstab in the works coming in from Easy, but he's just waiting for Deadly's utility to go down.
Here. 30
Time
seconds
pressure
left.
is on Reckoning
Last
Esports, so it's a
player
2v4, and the moment the ball drops, so will their heads. And there you go. That's exactly what MLT Esports needed to do. There is literally only one counter to this harbor composition, is to disrespect their utility, play ahead of it. This time they all just play out of the high tide. You've got the snake bites on the ground, and they're just waiting for the opportunity. Fox literally saves his entire Viper Toxin screen only so that they can push out of that harbor utility. That's when he activates it all, and MLT Esports go for one big swing. This entire game, it's going to come down to timing.
It makes a lot of sense too, right? Harbor's utilities and Viper's utilities, they're all visual denying utilities.
Yeah.
They can't deny your bullets, either they can't deny your entrance, that is you can just straight up walk through it. You try to stand through it as well. So the best way to counter that is just to try and fight through it.
Scout destroyed.
And if your spamming ability is good enough, then you can actually get a couple of free kills. That's gonna be great. Nice shot from Tricky. Now, going back on my earlier point, unfortunately, neither of these teams have a scanning agent like a Fade or a Sova, so that spam kills will be a bit difficult, but the flash kills should be easy enough.
Speak about that, and every single player from Reckoning Esports is now just stacked outside A, or at least that's what it seems like for now. But still, Reckoning Esports, they're quite indecisive. They don't know what they want so far. The KJ utilities on the A side is of course going to deny any sort of entrances, so it's going to be quite tough to play off of that. The turret as well is being invested towards the arts area. If there is any sort of presence near arts, it will be felt as soon as they're trying to peek on the site. Flabin making his way slowly and steadily. We'll try to make some space on the site, and he exactly does so. The Cloud Burst utilized to try and deny some visual of MLT Esports, but there are the players on the backside who are trying their best to try and fight back and deny the site control, and they will be able to do so. Nice! To stop the spike plant. Kakarot goes huge.
My goodness, these are the kind of hero plays needed from MLT Esports, and this is exactly the kind of mentality you need to have if you want to win against this composition. You gotta disrespect all that harbor utility, and that's what they've been doing for the past 2 rounds. That's exactly why Metal has been winning.
Crip, speaking of that,
so sick.
Yeah. And speaking of that, is that MLT Esports, after that tactical timeout, they're just looking much more resistant. They're looking much more dominant. If the attackers are going to try to dominate their way on the site, the defenders will dominate their way back on the side as well.
Blinded.
And I'm loving it. Just going for those head-on-head collisions against them. And MLT Esports, they're now really starting to prove their worth.
This is such a proactive play. MLT Esports can actually crunch them on mid. Jay's already playing near the door. And look at the positioning of Kakarot. He goes a little beyond. So as soon as Jay spots this, it will be Kakarot's cue to start moving in. But Jay can handle them all on his own. A double for the man. And Fox also doubles up. This man's on fire. What on earth just happened? These two players just single-handedly lifted the round, carried it on their backs all the way across the finish line.
Take a look at the replay too. JE, these were some huge shots from his side. Shutting down Flabin and Hirsch, who were always on that lurking angle. And if you're going to get rid of those lurks, not just one, but even 2, that's going to be huge. Because usually if a team has a lurk going on, their future depends on that lurk in that round. And if you're going to be cutting off that lurk as quick as possible, the entire strategy just falls on the faces, and then pretty much all that left in your hands is the leftover players with the utilities and their mechanical skills. And this is going to be a timeout from the side of Reckoning Esports.
Exactly. Reckoning Esports now need to realize that there's one thing that MLT Esports have been doing from the start. Not just from their tactical timeout, but from round one. And that is have at least one side of the map pushed in. If Reckoning are applying pressure towards the A side, then Metal will try to push out a B main and get the upper ramp control. If that's the opposite of what's happening, then you will have MLT Esports send somebody down A main. And this time, you had Kakarot who reached all the way towards the T spawn. So those kind of pushes from MLT Esports towards the extremities of the map have been there, and they give them quite a lot of information early on in the round. And then all that MLT Esports need to be careful about is the mid rotations. That is the double door and art regions. Otherwise, the alternatives, the extremities of the map, they are secured by MLT Esports, so they don't seem to be a problem at all.
Yeah.
I suggest
Got the extremities. Once again, Reckoning Esports just going really aggressive for the B-side control. This time not even wasting a single second. Usually we see Reckoning Esports waiting a little bit before executing, but this time every single player, all the 5 players just stacked on the B long, going for that execute. But this flank from the side of MLT Esports might just prove to be quite a huge one too. Hirsch is quite close, but the shot from Trick is disgusting. Hirsch's head's going to be lost in that process. But they've still got 4 players left alive. This trade needs to be found, but no one's going to be the answer. Even Flatman's taken away, and way too many players just flowing in your direction. It's going to be tough to counter all of them. But Reckoning Esports, they're trying their best to fight back. 1 more to go, and Boya is going to be that last man.
My goodness, MLT Esports are so overwhelming to fight, dude. It's like you're never gonna get these 1v1s. Imagine a bunch of angry defenders rushing down at you, all 3 of them peeking at the same time, running ahead like one cohesive unit. No matter how good your aim is, you can't raid out everybody.
No charges left.
Oh boy. I'm just loving the sort of change in the pace MLT Esports have brought. If you're going to try to dominate them, you can expect some dominance back. And they're asserting it quite well.
Exactly. MLT Esports always attacking Reckoning in the post-spawns from backstab positions, which basically means Reckoning have very little post-plans. What on earth is this, by the way? What kind of a kill is that? Really just... Okay, I can't even call it luck. Easy didn't even make any noise, so it's not like you can spray on the basis of instinct. You just randomly sprayed that particular spot. Cool, man. Cool. Good for you.
Still all the 5 players, though. Stacked towards the B long side. They've still got Flabbin on the lurk. It's quite interesting to see a duelist trying to lurk most of the time, and Flabbin's doing exactly that. And the rest of the players are now starting to move in. Tricky, that was a nice little off angle that Tricky tried to pull off. He did get the one kill, but he wasn't able to follow it up with another one. Hoya instantly got the trade in his hands, and now it's down to a 3-on-2 scenario. J.E. moving in from the back lines, but Flabbin's just waiting for him to walk in his crosshairs. Flabbin's gonna miss his opportunity. And he backs off. Doesn't want to go for the second peek anymore. It's a 3-on-4 scenario. Definitely turnable.
Blinded.
Yes, indeed it is turnable. The snake bite prevents anyone from peeking from back hall. But they still have to deal with Harbor and Woya, who just steps up. Man, what on earth is this performance from him? It's like performance on demand. You press a button and he's gonna just roll some heads. Yikes. I mean, I do feel a little bad for MLT Esports though, because they were aware about the moves from Reckoning all throughout. After that kill on B through the walls, that one got for free, MLT Esports completely saw this B hit coming, and they were completely having their faith in Tricky. They know that he could get at least a couple of kills before he dies, and the retake will still be easy. But unfortunately, Tricky made this rare mechanical error where his cloud burst wasn't where it was supposed to be, and it didn't cover his way back in. He dashed into the open and couldn't get back. Again, look at these potion kills from Flabbin, dude. Seriously, how does he get that one as well? Again, without even seeing a pixel, and he dashes away.
And look at this aggression as well coming out from MLT Esports. But at least Fox is able to catch Master, but not able to get away with that. Tricky once again just pushing up quite forward. I'm pretty sure he's going to go for the angle check and knows going to be the answer. Hirsch was just waiting for this man to walk in his crosshairs. The patience now being shown from Reckoning Esports. It's crazy. They're able to find some opening and then later on just let the mind game settle in because they realize MLT Esports, they're trying to assert some dominance back. So you're going to let them do that while you're just going to hold some angles. And this is exactly what Reckoning Esports are doing. And it's working out perfectly fine for them. Hirsch goes huge in that previous round. You were speaking about that Tricky's mechanical error. And the only way that could have been avoided is that you pretty much cloud burst where you want to dash. So the problem was Tricky cloud burst his just to block his opponent's visual. But instead... If you'd have cloud bursted the way where he wanted to dash, he could have stayed alive.
Yeah, he probably could have stayed alive. I mean, I get the idea of doing that too. He knows that all of them are going to be holding the left-hand side angle, so he probably thought it was safe to do. And it would have been in the perfect world, but it's a rare mechanical error. This time, there's quite a lot of resistance from Metal on A long though. Two players using all their util Cloudburst as well as the dog utilized, so they're a bit deadly. Meanwhile, the entirety of the mid region gets locked in by the Viper's Pit. It's deep towards Art, and it still covers a little bit of the double door.
Those little fakes are really just playing with MLT Esports' minds. And with this entire push, they're also looking to avoid that Viper's Pit. Trailblazers being spotted. So Reckoning Esports' presence is now definitely known, and Easy is ready with that lockdown. Lockdown being initiated, and Reckoning Esports might just need to fall back once again, or maybe hold their horses, at least for now. They cannot be that aggressive anymore, because that lockdown's of course going to throw or splash water on the entire momentum so far they've been able to build.
Yeah. And now Reckoning don't have any high tide to cover their way inside.
30 seconds left.
They will have to rely on only Hirsch's Toxin. Does he have it charged up enough? I don't know about Hirsch's Toxin, but you've got Fox's Toxin up. He can stop them for a bit. Jay already playing inside the dome. This should make it difficult to run, but there's Viper's Pit deployed, which Tricky ignores, and he tries to still fight inside. Jay now trying to find the angle, trying to find the people inside, and he does. Running past Flabin, gunning everybody down, and he's made it work. MLT Esports win the last round of the half.
That was such a scrappy round. Pop the Viper's Pit, hope for the best, and every single player was just inside that Viper's Pit. One of the most crappiest rounds I've seen so far. That entire lockdown just threw off the players of Reckoning Esports. It sort of just caught them off guard, and I'm pretty sure Reckoning Esports, what their plan was to get the side control in their hands, get the spike down, and maybe fall back and try to play for the post plant. But that single lockdown just completely gave their intentions away. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, it's time for us to push to a short break. We'll be right back with the second half.
Can't for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
The all-new i20 Born Magnetic.
Can't for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, in the second half where, of course, Reckoning Esports do have a little lead, but not so much of a lead you would want to call it. 7-5 half, definitely doable, easily catchable as well if MLT Esports keep on playing the way they've been playing so far. And one thing is for sure, MLT Esports, they were able to find the counter to Reckoning Esports' strategy with resistance and aggression back. So are we going to be seeing that aggression being amped up even on the attacking side? We'll be able to find out.
It seems like for now, MLT Esports wants to go for a contact lead towards Art. Will be released towards the double door, but the kills go all the way in towards Art, and this is quite nice. Two players dead on either side, and a quick reaction from MLT Esports results in them hurrying down B main. But Deadly has shut down Fox, and now he's taken the upper B ramp for himself, which negates the amount of post-plant positions that Metal have available to play from.
Spike's been planted too. And Metal Esports, they've got the side control so far, but once again, man advantage is what really does make a huge difference inside the game, and what a shot! Deadly 10 indeed is proven to be quite deadly with that Sheriff. One more to go. Tricky's going to be on top. Inside Haven, and so far Tricky as well has been proven quite a deadly man for this entire middle of roster. But Boya is going to shut him down easily. Tricky been put to sleep. Another round continued in the favor of Reckoning Esports. Make it 8 on the board.
And with this pistol win, Reckoning Esports definitely have started off on the right foot. Yeah, it was a little, there wasn't a little bit of doubt about this Harbor being on the defensive side. I was excited to see how they use it, but hey, they don't need the Harbor when Deadly's hitting all his shots like this. He single-handedly turned the outcome of this round around. If he decided to fight towards B-Link instead, I mean, even if he got both of those kills, there's no way that he would have been able to deny the spike plant eventually, because Metal would have traded him out. But with him going all the way towards B main, now Metal have to choose. Do they go for the plant, or do they deal with this guy first?
Ooh. I'm not gonna lie, Trick is feeling himself right now. He's not a man you want to peek against. He's got some hot hands, and he's looking to deliver with those. You gotta back out from a player who's really feeling himself and try and make sure that you're not really giving him those isolated duels, because you can definitely capitalize. It's his day, and it's up to Reckoning Esports how they want to play it, because they have got the lead so far, and also the gun's advantage which they can rely on. And Flabin, with the Bulldog in the hands, definitely going for quite an interesting angle, but unfortunately for him, the entire squad of Metal Esports is towards the A site, and they're going to start to burst in soon enough.
Reckoning has such a good read on this thing. Look at it. They're using the counter util to keep Metal at bay just as they're about to start coming in. The snake bite forced the Reckoning members out, and that's exactly what happens when Warrior has to fight on Metal's terms. He's uncomfortable while swinging out, which results in Metal getting clean kills all throughout.
Oh, that was such a disgusting shot from Tricky. Looks away in the nick of time and instantly hits the headshot too. All props should be given to Tricky for this entire round to be secured so far. Metal Esports single-handedly, because of Tricky's able to get the entire A site and now the entire round as well. Those two crucial picks proved out to be so valuable. And now it's all down to Flabin, who's holding the back angle. He's gonna try to go for some exit frags if possible. They do line up, but he's not able to find it. Tricky once again. He's just able to nail those shots.
Amazing stuff, dude. They steal the pistol momentum back, and that is some great stuff coming out from Metal Esports. Look at how that snake bite really forces Reckoning, Warrior, and Master out, man. I mean, sure, they both died to headshots, but with them getting vulnerable, they would have been dead meat regardless. They're such easy targets. They've got half HP, basically.
Some heavy talking being done. Yeah. Reckoning Esports.
Funny how...
What sort of calls are now being made for Reckoning Esports? Considering they lost an anti-eco round, that means now Reckoning Esports are going to be thrown to an eco round, and Metal Esports will have the superior weaponry. Or maybe not. They have been able to recover those Spectres and those Bulldogs, so that means Metal Esports are pretty much going to be sticking to that. So we might just see a quick burst from Metal Esports once again.
Yeah, Metal Esports have been using that quick burst, you know, and at least one positive thing going on for Reckoning Esports is that they are able to find out when Metal Esports are about to hit. So regardless of how much damage Metal is able to do, Reckoning Esports almost always use their Trailblazers and their flashes and all the counter utility at the right time to try and stop Metal Esports at bay. Now, for now it didn't work, but maybe there's gonna be a little change when Reckoning Esports are up against a bunch of Spectres. They might just go in for a full-fledged mid-fight. And look at the setups from them, man. B completely devoid of utility. A has almost nothing on it. Not even any KJ util deployed across the map. Just all of them stacking up art.
Yeah. Oh boy, this Art's play is really interesting. And with the Trailblazers, they've also cleared out the double doors area. So they don't really need to go for that extra risk anymore. They can just keep on walking inside the double doors and pretty much make it to the site. One player being spotted while he was trying to slip away. Now the call's definitely been given away to the players of Reckoning Esports that the B side's going to be the one that's being executed. They're making their way, but I'm still quite worried for them. They haven't got the suitable amount of weapons to go for these head-on-head collisions.
Here.
Ooh, now this is interesting. Almost all of them going for the flank. 4 people coming in from B ramp. Fox realizes that this is a big hit. He can't hold this by himself, so he falls back to a position where he can get traded from. Long range, Bulldog. This is what it excels at, but even Flabin excels at this range. So precise. Can he strike twice? Woya does it.
Woya strikes with the Sheriff. And now they're going to keep on marching forward on the side as well. Spectre's in the close. And of course, it's going to start melting like an Inferno Tower. But another round in the favor of MLT Esports. And now they've almost equalized the scoreline. One more round to go to make it an equalizer. But still, now they're finally going to decide to upgrade their weapons crypts. They've thrown away those Spectres and every single SMGs they've had. And now they've made a huge upgrade. And they've also got a lot of economy.
Yeah, now is when the Titans clash. This by far has been quite a close game, and this is just the first map, man. Both the teams looking quite competitive, just coming up on top of one another whenever the opportunity demands it.
Here.
And they long lock horns once again. Fox pushing out towards the ramp where Hoya's already covered the distance, and Fox completely unaware.
Yeah, that was a little whiff too from
I've
Voya.
got your track.
Flabin was there to recover that. Master able to shut down easy, and now the arch control being taken away from MLT Esports. As soon as they lose their one, they instantly start to make it inside the site, asserting dominance on the A site, and they've also got the site control easily on the hand. The spike plant's gonna go down, and MLT Esports now in a huge post-plant situation. It's a 3-on-4 scenario. Reckoning Esports having the huge man advantage, and most of the angles have already been cleared with the Trailblazer. And I think so that was a team flash as well.
Oh, whether team flash or not, it definitely is a concern. There's a backstab coming in form of Flabin, but luckily all the other members of Reckoning have been dealt with, so now Metal can play it from all the way back. Both of them playing default box. Flabin's gonna peek them at the same time, and even though the Cloud Burst helps him isolate fights to some extent, JE still comes out on top.
Oh boy. Losing out in that duel. And Fox was able to seal the deal. Option considering you're a Jet main or you're the one playing the Jet. Usually the Jet players are the one to be in the front lines, but Flabin isn't the man who's doing that. But this time he might just be.
Yeah, this time he's the only one with a decent enough weapon, and that is this big ultimate. He's looking to make that peak, and he gets it. So sharp. Oh.
Speak about being sharp, and deadly tense sharp as well. With the Sheriff, he finds a nice connection on the head. And now still 3 more players to go. MLT Esports. This time, the man advantage is not in their favor. The opponents have a huge man advantage. It's a 3-on-5 scenario. Fox and Easy. 2 players have already been taken down, so the guns might just be retrievable. But because of Kakarot, it's quite tough to retrieve those guns back in their hands. He's still on the mid area. Arts control should be taken away easily, but Reckoning Esports do not really care about that. They care about the side control. And Flabin once again is going to be on the flank. He's moving in all the way from the back lines. He's probably going to try to go towards mid, but no, it's going to be the answer. Flabin falls back once again. MLT Esports, they do find the opening considering Reckoning Esports.
Left.
They don't really have the superior weaponry to go for a head-on-head collisions, but this time the Sheriff might just start a ring, and it exactly happens. Woya! A nice connection on the skull. The second one might just go down as well, but Flabin with this Blade Storm is just proven out to be a huge menace, a huge problem, and a thrifty round from Reckoning Esports. With the shots they've been able to hit, it's been looking incredible. And was that an iron medal? That was an iron medal from one of the Reckoning supporters. Is he calling the players of MLT Esports iron? Because the way he's showing that medal, as soon as Reckoning Esports won, he's just starting.
Also now, just in case, I'm muting myself on Discord to make things easier for you. Hello. Static hai. Fuck. Restart karke aana padega.
On 4, Deadly 10's got the lockdown available.
Here.
Considering Deadly 10, he plays that sentinel role and still pushes up that deep on an eco round. And he's able to find one and catch the entire team of MLT
Scout
Esports
destroyed.
off guard. That's huge. MLT Esports just playing this one out safe and sound this time. A huge change in the pace from them. Reckoning on the other side, though. Even they themselves are taking things quite slow. They're sort of anticipating this entire push that might just be coming in soon enough. High tide's being utilized by the harbor just to block off the entire double doors push, and so far, maybe he's able to do so as well. Tricky was the man who was lost early off for MLT Esports, so that means they've got no one who will be able to create some space for them. The rest of the players are moving in forward slowly and steadily. Reckoning Esports are able to stop the dominance so far. The opening's being found on the site. This might just be the resistance Reckoning Esports really do want in their hands. But MLT Esports out of nowhere, they bounce back. Kakarot and Fox single-handedly flip things around. But this lockdown invested from Deadly 10 might just prove out to be quite deadly. And this Cosmic Divide sort of helped Deadly 10 to make it on the side as well. He might just catch him off guard, but that's a huge spray whiff. Oh boy, if he doesn't whiff those shots right there, he gets a chance to reposition or rearrange his crosser onto the other enemy. But that spray being whiffed and Reckoning Esports being caught off guard. Even the coach himself knows how big of a blunder that is. They were not supposed to lose out on that round.
One enemy remaining.
Fox and his teammate Kakarot with that flank, they caught every single person off guard of Reckoning Esports. 2-player on those lurk. That was huge. The second one wasn't expected at all. And it was in the name of Kakarot.
हाँ, I hope Nikhil can't hear me. बेचारा कितना confused हो जाएगा अगर उसको भी मेरी आवाज़ आ रही रहेगी तो अभी क्या सीन है? नहीं आ रहा ना स्टार्टिंग? ठीक है चलेगा. Sorted. हाँ ठीक है.
Sports, the way they lost that.
At least it's not an economy breaker, you know, so they still have a fighting chance. But Reckoning's already prepared for this hit. So MLT Esports. Oh, wait, it's a double fake. All right, then. They make contact B, head towards A, get that orb. And now they're going all the way back towards the B side where Fox is already trying to make his way in. He's used his Poison Cloud to get this much distance covered. And as soon as Goya tries to go for a jumpy, a Toxin Screen will be put up in his face, so he can't do much fighting. And this lockdown will definitely make sure Reckoning Esports can't really fight back on this one. Viper Spit invested too, then Neville definitely should win this round. If they don't, then it will be a heartbreak.
Spike planted.
Indeed will be. So the backlands once again is Flab moving in with the operator. Just trying to catch some players off guard, and because of this Viper's Pit, it's just making things even tougher to make this retake happen. And as we do move on forward, MLT Esports. These trades did happen back and forth, but because of this Reckoning, things are going to get even more tougher. They will be forced out of that Viper's Pit for now. Fox, Viper's Pit is running out low, and soon enough it will be deactivated as well. MLT Esports, they are nicely able to fight back, but Seekers being invested too. So much hefty investment done from MLT Esports inside that round. But those Seekers were 200 IQ Seekers. He mainly used those Seekers to find out where exactly the guy is diffusing inside the smoke.
Yeah, but dude, it is still too expensive now, isn't it? The fact that they're able to use a lockdown and Viper's Pit, that's impressive enough. But I thought they really should have saved the Seekers for another round or something. At that point, yes, the round is important. You use up all your ultimates. But, I mean, at the very least, they've broken the Reckoning economy. They've forced them on an eco, so I guess all those investments were worth it. Even Reckoning were quite desperate to get that round in the bag, but they only used Master's ultimate, nobody else's. So I guess it's justified. But now the question is, can you recover your economy back in time to stop MLT Esports from getting map point?
Speak about that. And once again, Reckoning Esports being forced on in eco. I mean, they've won their economy round once, but can they win it again? Definitely a question everyone's wondering. This time the initial bullets are not connecting, and Deadly 10 loses out his life. Usually on the eco round, Deadly 10 always tries to overextend and go for those kills. If he finds, it's a good thing. If he doesn't, then of course it's just going to add on to the misery. Tricky. Moving forward, this bucket is of course going to be quite problematic, but that's going to be the answer for now. Boya was able to find one, but Jay single-handedly is able to put a full stop to this entire fairy tale that Reckoning Esports is trying to build inside this round. Boya moving in from the arts area, flabbing from the back lines. With the sheriffs, of course, things are going to be quite tough to find any sort of things.
Yeah. And, I mean, it was going to be a difficult round regardless with the inferior weaponry, but I guess the timing of when the people from the front lines and the back lines crunch in that post plant don't exactly work out for Reckoning Esports. The trades could have been better. I mean, they're still much better than some of the teams in this tournament, but you get my point.
11-9 is the scoreline. They've got a decent amount of lead stacked up now, and this is quite huge. And definitely MLT Esports is just shocking all of us with the amount of research this team has done. And with the way they're able to adapt to whatever Reckoning Esports is really just trying to bring on the board to counter them. Hirsch is going to try to fall back with only 10 HP. He needs to make sure he's staying alive for as long as possible. Viper's Pit being utilized as well just to stop this entire prowl on this.
No, but Tricky's kill, that was so important. It drops the Viper's Pit. Deadly, surprisingly, he's able to still defend it, even though his abilities are helping him. Flabbin, that was the man who could have made a difference. He was the one whose timing was supposed to be off guard for MLT Esports, but they encountered him. And now Masters dealt with. MLT Esports, they deal with the tricky situations. It was only one round in which they needed to beat Reckoning Esports, and now they've done it. They've almost got this round in the bag. Unless something goes drastically wrong for Metal, this should be the end of the map.
12-9 is the scoreline. On the map point is MLT Esports. And Reckoning, they need to find a way to bounce back. They've got nothing much left. Flabbin with only a shorty in his hands. Luckily enough, at least Deadly 10 does have a lockdown available, and Flabbin is now just taking the duel up close and personal. Needed to have one single orb to get his ultimate online, and he exactly does so. Seekers being utilized on the B site. The entry is being taken as well. Deadly 10 was able to find the entry.
Spike planted.
Initiated.
Do it. Lockdown is planted. But look at the move that Jay wants to make. He wants to make this happen, but the Lombard catches him. Warrior was aware about it. No attempts to break the lockdown. Not anymore. But there is one man who can make a difference, and that's going to be Kakarot. But he's going to have to hurry quite literally really fast. Flabbin doing his level best to be the bodyguard of the spike diffuser, but Kakarot is not there in time. The gravity well does it spot, but they're still going to be marking him, and it's nearly impossible to get through this crossfire. Reckoning Esports keep the hope alive, and with this one, they might just be able to push this game into overtime.
They might be able to. It's going to add another score, of course, on the mat, on the rounds. Reckoning Esports, they realize they've got a lot of pressure onto themselves. The opponents, they do have the match point in the hand. And no matter what, they know a single mistake can cost them the entire round. So they cannot afford to make those mistakes. MLT Esports going for a timeout. Maybe Hacker has realized what exactly the opponents are trying to bring on the board. Especially as soon as they reach the map point. So Hacker's probably trying to fill him in the info.
truth be told, this game is one of those games where both the teams have got a good read on each other, and it's been one of the cleaner games that we've seen in the last few days. With Metal having a good game plan as to how they countered Reckoning in the first half, and how Reckoning was also able to identify its own weaknesses to adapt and get that last round in the bag, tells you all you need to know about the level that these teams are operating at. Metal Esports, even though they're hanging out on like the 3rd position in this group standing, they are still very, very capable of being in the top 2. And their performance now is a testament to that. In the second round as well, the only factor that Reckoning Esports have been struggling with is to get Master on board. That is it. I mean, in the first half, Master didn't even need to frag out all that much, right? Because his utility was being super impactful. But now on the defense, Harbor by default isn't all that great. The best that you can do is deny time, and that's about it. So if Master finds a way to step up now, because he's sitting on only 3 kills, if he does that, this can still be Reckoning's game.
Speak about that. And this time the mid presence being taken from Metal Esports, just denying that entire flank. Metal Esports know if they've got the mid control in the hand, so that means one thing's for sure, that the flank isn't going to be there from Reckoning Esports no matter what. And as soon as they're able to deny that flank, they pretty much will have a huge advantage inside the entire site take and the retake scenario as well, because they won't need to worry about their back lines. So that can definitely pan out to be quite huge. And this time Tricky moving in on the site, but gets greeted by Boya's firepower. Shuts him down instantly. Boya knows there's a man in the close lines, but he's not able to shut him down. JE with the run and guns able to shut down Boya. And now last 2 players up and alive. Master and Flabin left over.
Spike planted.
Master, he's got full HP. The rest of the players from the side of Metal Esports are quite low. They're softened up. It shouldn't be that tough to take down those players, but JE heals them up.
Blinded.
Timing. It's all gonna come down to it. You've still got Jay left in the site, and he's pretty low on health, so he doesn't mind giving his life away. It was a decent enough gamble in which, if he got a pick, it would have been very game-changing. But now, with the Cove, he can actually stick this. If not, he can at least try to fake it out. The gravity well pulls him across, and now Kakarot needs to make his move. It's gonna have to be a deep dive all the way inside.
Can he make
Master
it?
holds onto the nerves, but the timing it's
what
there.
A clutch.
He's got it.
That was a 2v4 clutch, ladies and gentlemen, and Master popped off. He got 3 kills all by himself. A big clutch from Reckoning Esports. Oh boy, Metal Esports, it's like stealing the round away from them like a thief in the night. And Reckoning Esports still keeping their lifeline going inside this match.
Last of the rounds of regulation. It's either overtime or bust. Metal Esports. They don't have all their stars on Kakarot yet, but I'm surprised that Reckoning Esports are letting them take all these orbs. Jay now has a Seekers ready, and that's great. At least another ultimate is invested now. As long as they can get Fox safely into the site, this should be Metal's round, because they've got this Viper's Pit. And if they can get Master to reinvest, I'm sorry, not reinvest, just regularly invest that Reckoning a little early, it would be great. But why would they need the ultimate when they've got Flabin? Always changing his opening positions. This time from Art gets that opening pick. Tricky's gone, but hey, at least the 2 players on Metal who still have that ultimates online are still alive, so there's hope.
If we're able to suppress Tricky, that's going to be huge. Because as I said, Tricky is the man who's feeling himself.
I've got
Get
your
rid of
trail.
Tricky, and that's a huge threat neutralized. And that's what exactly has been happening so far. Tricky's being nullified over and over again. He's been able to find that sweet spot for himself so far because he's always been getting taken down, being suppressed. And JE, that's a good find through the wall. No visual, but it's not going to matter. The visual isn't going to block the bullets. And he's able to shut him down. Reckoning being utilized as well. This Reckoning might just be proven out to be quite huge as the spike plant's been denied as well. And Reckoning Esports, it seems like this retake on the site is definitely possible. Not a lot of time left in the hands, and Voya will go monster mode.
We're going to overtime, ladies and gentlemen. What a nail-biting game. What a great adjustment from Reckoning Esports too. They realized that it all needs to come down to this timing. As soon as the Viper Spit was supposed to be deployed, they all just make for contacts. Reckoning Esports the Reckoning invested at the right time. It's kind of confusing, isn't it? Every time Master uses his ults, I say Reckoning, and then one might confuse it with
Reckoning
the team.
using the Reckoning.
So, yeah. But yeah, regardless, as soon as they use that ultimate, it really comes down to timing. And yes, I can't exactly blame MLT Esports for falling victim to that. I did point out that as long as they can keep their Sky and the Viper alive, this round should belong to them, and the only way that Reckoning can counter it is the ultimate. I was hoping that they would somehow be able to fake an attack well enough that forces Reckoning to invest that Reckoning prematurely, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, they weren't able to bait it out, which is also fine. That's exactly why this game is so top-notch.
Oh, wait. Are they playing Truth or Dare?
With guns at each other? I think it's a Russian relay.
Interesting. I mean, there was a bottle in between. Probably the bottom, whatever the bottle points at. I guess that weapon will be used. There was a guy with a grenade as well. Imagine if the bottle points at the grenade, and he just
everyone's
throws
dead.
the grenade. Everyone's dead.
Yeah. That's one really high-stakes game of spin the bottle. This time, though, no team willing to spin the wheel and take a gamble. Look at how passively everyone's playing. Both the teams just resort to their defaults, and Reckoning have one of those really slow defaults. They don't usually play like this. Even this hideout that was just used, we haven't seen Reckoning pull this off before. They are hoping to sell the fake that they are trying to take double door controls, and they're hoping that MLT Esports fall back and play from B-Link where they want them to be. But that's not going to be the case. Tricky still marking the angle.
Oh my god. Oh, that was such a close fight. But Tricky being forced back, but what was that shot, Tricky? Finds him through the wall once again. The visual denial utility is not going to matter, because the bullets are always finding those connections, and as long as that's happening, that's all that's gonna matter. But Deadly 10 with a monstrous spray transfer, one bullet in the magazine, and that's going to be more than enough. Oh, Deadly 10, what was that shot? 2 players left over. Tricky, the last glimmer of hope alive, and Reckoning Esports, they're really delivering.
Dude, this is one of those rounds where all strategy that has been cooked up is thrown out of the window, yeeted away as hard as your arm can swing because it is full of magic. First that shot from Tricky, and then this ridiculous performance from Deadly 10. The spray transfer was impressive enough, and then this man just stole all our hearts with the one tap. Ungodly levels of power and reflexes just flowing through their veins right now. The energy coursing in their blood is electric, insane. Holy hell. This is definitely the spiciest overtime of this tournament so far.
Oh boy. Those plays. And that one tap. It stole my heart, Crips. It's not beating in my chest anymore. Someone stole it away. I guess it was that play. But now we move on once again, but this time Reckoning on the defense side, as their attacking chance is now gone, and now it's time for Reckoning to be pushed back and play a little bit laid back. Arts control is given away, and I like this off angle that's being held by Woya.
Yeah, Woya's marking that art off angle. You've also got Flabin pushing all the way towards A main. So on paper, Reckoning have a lot of map control. But what they don't know is Metal have snuck through. Now the jump spot gives them all the information they need. And at the end of the day, MLT Esports, despite the pathing they took, it culminates as a regular beat crunch. So Reckoning still have an opportunity to stop this plant. Nanoswarm dodged for now, but can you dodge the hailstorm of bullets? Also, yes, it's 5v4 finally.
Oh, Reckoning, all they need is one more round in the hands. They're on the map point. And what I'm loving about Reckoning is that they're having those smiles on the faces as well, while they were just decimating the opponents.
Easy.
Frox is way too close, and he will have the Peeker's advantage in his hands. As Tricky finds 2, they both line up, and MLT Esports, Oh, this retake that looked quite impossible. Metal Esports, they make it look possible. Flavin with the operator in the close range, gonna be next to impossible to make it work. And Metal Esports, they barely squeeze another round.
Yeah, but the amount of map control that Izzy got for them in the end, that was super impressive. You got flankers upon flankers. At one point, I was concerned because Reckoning had one player waiting right outside of double door. Flavin was coming in from B-Link, and there was a tiny window of opportunity which Izzy had, and he took it. He made it through that tiny gap, and even though he was killed, he pulled away the members of Reckoning Esports for just long enough to let Metal get into better post plans, and that changed the entire game. We're going to yet another overtime.
Speak about the overtime, and once again, Reckoning Esports lurking around towards the arts area. The last time they went towards B, but this time, the ideas are looking pretty vague. We don't exactly know where they want to go.
Yeah.
They might have something planned up. The spike is all the way back in the spawn.
I think at this point, Reckoning are just trying to play for a pick. You see the kind of high tide they deploy and the cascade they deploy. It's only blocking the entrance of Double Door and Art. They didn't even take any control on the back of that utility deployment. They were hoping that Metal will try to re-clear that utility by peeking out of the water walls, and that just did not happen. So Reckoning Esports, they were waiting for Metal aggression all that time, but with just 40 seconds left, Reckoning haven't made any moves, and now they have to go for it desperately. He catches Easy with the worst possible case of timing.
Side control's taken away from their hand, but unfortunately, Reckoning Esports, they're just funneling in Metal Esports' crosshairs. And Metal Esports just waiting in the back, chilling, letting the players of Reckoning Esports just walk into it. The kills are being stacked, and now it's a 3-on-4 scenario, and Vitch Master was quite low, and he's going to be taken care of easily. And now make it a 2-on-4. They have converted it once in the past, but someone needs to go huge. The last time it was Hirsch who popped up. Will this time it be Deadly? No, it's going to be the answer. Deadly nullified instantly, but Hirsch is still alive left in this clutch scenario. He denies the defuse, but there is enough time.
We defend this place. We defend this reality.
That was still quite close, man. It went down from a 2v4 to a 1v1 in the end. And if it wasn't for the sheer number strength that was available onto Metal Esports, then Reckoning would have had this round in the bag, dude. Hirsch was phenomenal, so stoic in that position when everybody's pushing him. That's the kind of resilience you need when the match comes down to the wire. And once again, it is Metal Esports within touching distance of the victory.
Oh boy. And this time, Metal Esports on the attack. They have won the previous round, so all they need is one more round of the back, and this OT is getting way too interesting now, Crips. It's starting to heat up even more. And Metal Esports, as they slowly and steadily start to march towards the A site. Reckoning Esports, they've got the KJ setup ready. And Deadly 10 posted up in the back site. If anything's going to spot Deadly 10, of course the intentions will be given away, but Deadly 10 needs to find a lot of value in this position. He's found himself in. He finds one, but that's all he's going to get. The instant trade from Metal Esports is going to be there.
That's good enough. That's good enough for now. Metal Esports have the lineup which allows them to retake quite well. Harsh can easily use the snake bites to push any players out of position, and Master can use his cascade to block off a main if he can get into position, that is. But for now, Harsh is getting all the kills, and this is good enough. The highlight comes in. That's exactly what we were waiting for. Sidelines get off, and now Metal Esports can only hope to spam and hurt them. Can it still be possible? They're not firing any shots. Fake diffuse initiated, but Harsh has tapped the fight so many times right now. Metal's still not biting the bait. And when the ball falls, so will the remaining members, man. This game doesn't seem to end.
Oh, just going back and forth inside this OT. And even Flabbin now. Look at his face. I mean, he had a lot of smiles before the game started, but now Flabbin's having a serious face, a stoic face. because he knows the competition is getting quite fierce and tougher as the time passes by, as the round passes by. And this OT, this first map, both these teams are just way too desperate to get it underneath their belt. But you got to give it to MLT Esports as well. The amount of competition this team is bringing, and considering that is all players from the side of MLT Esports, they're just able to activate themselves.
Here.
Yeah, when the situation demands it, everybody steps up. And now Reckoning, not just stepping up, but literally going shoulder to shoulder with each other. Moving together as a unit, they're going back towards double door, going hard, and then back again at double door. They're just trying to create so much noise in this area. They're hoping that somebody from Metal will offer them a fight so that Reckoning Esports can desperately get the pick that they have been looking for all this time. But Metal don't budge. They do not give them any fights. And the time boils down to the last minute. Now Reckoning have no choice. They have to go for this play towards B.
Turret being forced out to bait out some shots, but nothing been found yet. The connection was there from the turret, so at least they have got the information that there is someone posted up. But who exactly with what weapon, that's what they don't know. All the 5 players just funneling and flowing on the site. The dome being utilized as well to go for the plant, and it will be easily done too.
No.
Plant goes down, and Reckoning Esports, they're just overextending, really not needed. They're flabbing. Could have just tried to play for the post plant, but that double updraft on the top of the heaven, Flabbin wanted that control desperately. And if he would have got that, this round would have been way too easy as well. But the spam is just so on the point, and Deadly 10 finds them both.
Reckoning Esports, yeah, even with the overextension, it came down to the wire. And this is exactly why the Harbor is so important on defense. With that Cove, you can easily get that half defuse done. Unless the entire team spams down on the Cove, you're not going to break it. And this Harbor is creating so much value for Reckoning Esports, because you see with the utility that Master posts up, there's absolutely no angle available for Tricky to play on. He had that op posted up on B long since such a long time, but he never got to use it, never got to fire a single shot. And even though Master doesn't have a lot of kills in this game, it's this amount of land grab that he helps his team out with, and that's really turning the tide.
Oh, Fox finds that beautiful spam out of Flabbin. Flabbin isn't able to make it back, isn't able to retreat. Arts Control being spotted out as well, was playing on that turret contact. And now as they know the Arts Control has been taken away easy with a nice frag to open things up. But this Flake himself from the side of Metal is going to catch the players of Reckoning Esports off guard. Arts Control was shown. So the players of Reckoning thought that it might just be easy to take the mid control, but no is going to be the answer because Fox was ready in the mid to catch him.
Deadly. He makes his way across the smoke, but G catches him on the way back. Both these teams have their strengths on the attacking side of this overtime now, isn't it? The strength of Reckoning Esports, cover distance without having to fight using that Harbor util. The strength of MLT Esports, try to catch everything on mid on the basis of timing. And unlike Reckoning, who on their attacking side almost always just try to lurk towards the double door and outside, hoping that Metal will give them a fight, that doesn't happen. Metal, on the other hand, they get the fights that they need, they get the picks that they need, and the timing is almost always perfect. That's exactly why this timeout I'm sorry, not the timeout, that's exactly why this overtime keeps on extending again and again.
Yeah. This OT, man. Another OT, ladies and gentlemen. 15-15 is the scoreline, and it's a tactical timeout from MLT Esports to have some talks. And they really do need to. They're winning one round, dropping another. Something they cannot afford to keep on going, because as we all know, the series is going to have 2 more maps after this. So the players do need a lot of stamina as well to fight it out in the upcoming maps too. But so far, man, this competition, this entire series has been so entertaining. Reckoning Esports is really getting a huge run for their money.
They indeed are. Reckoning Esports should have had this in the bag given the way the first half went. But then these teams have been competitive again and again. And unlike some of the other games where overtimes were extended because one team makes a mistake and the other one just makes the same mistake in the other half, this is different. Both these teams are actually outplaying each other well enough. Yes, there can be some improvements every now and then, but you can't really complain. You can complain about this frag though. Poor Fox got it through a smoke. I mean, he didn't even reveal himself. He just got spammed down, so you can't blame him.
Flabin is always just holding the back lines of the team. Gonna be the man who will be probably lurking around. But still the intentions aren't clear. As MLT Esports, they've lost out on their Vipers. That means for them to make this retake happen, it's going to be a little tough. They only will need to rely on those ASTER smokes and the ASTER utility to make this retake possible. On the other hand, they've got the Halber and the Viper for a lot of visual denying utilities. Spike goes down, and so the lockdown as well being invested from Reckoning Esports. This is quite a massive one. And this lockdown is going to cause a lot of problems and also buy a lot of time for Reckoning.
Yeah, it's not just the lockdown. Even both the nanoswarms have been put down now, so Deadly can activate them one by one and boil this timer down to its last few ticks. And when the timer isn't enough pressure, he himself peeks out and gets that triple. Deadly takes this round on his back and lifts his team up, man. But then again, both these teams have been able to win their attacking side round. It's the defense that matters. Can Reckoning finally pull through in the last leg of this game?
A map point, ladies. All they need is one more round in the pocket. And so far, Deadly 10 from Reckoning Esports has been the deadliest player so far. Being a Sentinel, he's able to stack up 29 kills with 21 deaths. That is just impressive. Staying above Flabin as well, Deadly 10. This man is just so incredible. It just surprises me. You're seeing a Sentinel doing this well inside a game.
Here. Toxin screen down.
Yeah, Deadly 10. It's not just the timing or the simple utility usage. Sometimes it's just these heroics, man. They don't make much sense. They don't have much logic to them, but the magic, oh, definitely. He's got plenty of that.
Toxin screen down.
The operator being spotted from MLT Esports. Are they still going to go for the commitment? That's my question. Every single player's just stacking behind this pillar. They really don't want to peek out at the operator as long as the Toxin is going to be stacking up once again on the Viper. And as soon as it does, they make the side entrance possible. Boya was taken down. He was the man who got neutralized. But Hersh on the side is definitely creating a lot of problems for the opponents. And once again, it will try to make a peek, but this time Tricky's going to be the one who will cut his head off. It's a 3-on-4 scenario against the players of Reckoning Esports. All Reckoning Esports need is one more round in the hand to seal the deal on this map. But he's just going back and forth over and over again. And Deadly 10 is still alive, and as long as that man's alive on the board, you still have a huge threat. But as I was talking about Deadly 10, Master this time is going to take charges and matters in his own hands.
Player standing.
Oh, and it drops. It's all down to Kakarot. Reckoning might just be able to do this unless it's a big clutch. This is in the bag. He almost killed the diffuser, but Deadly once again steps up. The bodyguard for the team carries it all the way through. It was difficult and it was labored, but Reckoning Esports finally get across that finish line.
I'm pretty sure later on in that OT, everyone must have started feeling their nerves. Everyone should have. It went so close. And Deadly 10 and Master in the final round, they stepped up huge. Master especially. He was like, it's okay. I'll take matters into my own hands. And he was able to get a nice 3K for his team to help out with that retake, even though the players of Reckoning Esports didn't have the man advantage in their favor. But MLT Esports being tackled like this on the map of Pearl, and considering the upcoming pick is the side of MLT Esports, if I'm not wrong. So I really want to see how that's going to be played.
Dude, I have no words to describe how good this game was, because this
Yeah.
was such a refreshing take on all these overtimes. We've seen some incredible overtimes game before, but most of them came down to some team making a mistake or throwing away their advantage. But with this one, it just felt like both the teams were in their element, so it was quite refreshing to see.
Wait, again, I'm gonna correct myself. The upcoming pick is by Reckoning Esports, and it's Lotus, guys. So I know a lot of the people in the chat would want to see how Lotus goes down, because it's the first time VCSA will be seeing that Lotus being played. But you guys will be able to see that after this short break.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.
I know my destiny. destiny.
We were discussing the composition. Yes, the Harbor Viper is viable enough, but we've seen teams use Omen as well, partially because there's certain areas where you can just skip out on crossing entirely, and the TP range actually works out because this map is so small and claustrophobic. You can actually get some nice TPs across. Even the Astra is viable. So really, there's no set meta for this map yet, but these teams have their choices.
I mean, here we go. We are seeing pretty much a similar composition that we saw on the map of Pearl Harbor. Viper, the Sentinel's going to be Killjoy. And once again, that jet being utilized. But on the opposing side, we are seeing Neon being used. And we're also seeing that Omen being pulled out. So one thing's for sure, the fast lane's going to be utilized of Neon. The wall that will be used. So that can be quite helpful, I guess, in those side executes sometimes, considering Tricky will also have a huge advantage in rotating quickly enough between those three sites when you are going to be playing that neon role. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, as we do move on forward inside the map of Lotus for the first time in VCSA, Metal Esports on the defending side and Reckoning Esports on the attacking side.
And especially on a map of Lotus, you know how important it is for attackers to control a lobby. That's exactly why you see Metal Esports playing heavily on this area to deny them this early control. Orb has been acquired, but Reckoning Esports on the other hand are trying to knock on the doors of B. They've got Fox marking this angle, but can he fall back just before the utility of Harbor arrives? Yes, he can. I don't think there's too much to deny the spike plant though, but hold on, they're not going for a spike plant on B. They open the doors, and now the C site is under assault. Nanoswarms can hold them back for just a little bit, but they still make their way across. They hustle through it.
Oh, this is not a good news. Flabbing all the way towards over here in the back lines, and the trades are now starting to happen back and forth as Reckoning Esports, they were able to find two of their own, but instantly Metal Kakarot replies back with three of his own.
Sheesh, the movement on Reckoning Esports, even though they lost this round, I have to appreciate with how quickly they move, you know? They make contact towards B. As soon as they try to fake out that plant and realize that the Killjoy setup is not here, they assume that it was gonna be on A, and that's why they went C. Surprise, surprise, the Killjoy setup is present over here. They still hustle through it, you know? They just run across the nanoswarms as if it doesn't matter. And they get that plant down quickly. And they know that they don't have the ideal post-plant positions. So instead, they push into halls and try to go all the way back from waterfalls. So even though Reckoning lost this round, I love the amount of times they just ran around Metal Esports and tried to flank them again and again.
Oh. Hirsch being put to sleep, and this time the Viper's not going to be in play anymore. But still, I mean, it's just an eco round, so for them, things are going to be quite okay. Metal Esports, they're just going to let him funnel inside the site. As Easy is able to stack them up on top of each other. Flavin pushes up towards Waterfall, does find one, but that's all they're going to be able to get. At least it's not a flawless round.
Yeah, a little bit of damage done. That's all that you could have expected in a situation like this. But hey, the important part over here is now that the map is Lotus, the guns like Stinger and everything, even the shorties, can actually hold quite a lot of values. There's so much more room for those short-range weapons to actually get some damage done in a map like this because, yeah, it is claustrophobic.
High tide being used. Any sort of visual in the front, but this time Reckoning, they're going to take the fire against Metal Esports. Two players being found instantly. We saw a counter push coming in from Metal Esports too, but now as that's being suppressed, that's a huge advantage being found from the side of Reckoning Esports. Flabbin's only taken down to 21 HP, but it's not going to affect him that much. And I think so, the regrowth isn't available too in the hands of Foya, or else he would have tried to heal Flabbin back up. So that's an unfortunate scenario, but still, it's a 5-on-3 scenario. A huge advantage in the hands of Reckoning Esports to get this round.
Yeah, but Reckoning are being met with resistance at every step of the way. The counter util from Fox, it's actually slowing them down.
I've got your trail.
Luckily for now, their pacing along with the sticking together is helping them get this control. And it doesn't seem to be a problem yet. They try to fake their reapproach into the B side, and as soon as Metal bite the bait, Reckoning Esports, they go back towards the A side. So it seems like this round can finally be one that Reckoning get for themselves, and they keep it clean.
Yeah. Not even a single body dropped, as you mentioned. Yeah, they keep it clean, and that's what they really needed. No weapons lost in that previous round. That's going to give them a huge advantage now. And Reckoning Esports, they're able to keep on moving forward with the guns they had. So that means Metal Esports will now go for a full investment. An operator being pulled out as well from Easy. Interesting. KJ going to be on the op. I want to see what sort of an impact Easy will try to bring over here. One thing's for sure, he will try to hold out all that A main side.
Yeah, and Easy has changed his position, you know. In the pistol round, he had his usual place towards C. But this time, there's an aggression towards C instead, which Tricky capitalizing on. And Easy's placed his util towards the A side, but Reckoning just pushing the envelope in. Flamin leading by example. Dashes inside and clears out a bot, but there's already a flank coming in. The door's been open, and Master, he gives up this area after getting a kill. They're now starting to go towards the A side, but keep in mind the position of Warrior can be devastating. He's gone unchecked so far.
Spike down A.
Jay
One
shut
enemy
down
remaining.
Master, but Reckoning Esports, they're always able to find a nice reply. Reply being on the time, and Metal Esports now
remaining.
left on a huge man deficit. Kakarot, unfortunately, for Hoya, he didn't expect Kakarot to be there on the A side, and now Hirsch is left all by himself with only 46 HP, and Kakarot has Hirsch rotate. He's heard him rotate all the way to the C site.
30
He probably
seconds
will be able to
left.
catch him off guard if possible. No.
Yeah, but as soon as Hush tries to jump downstairs, he's gonna be heard. He even hears Kakarot teleport in, but for now, the Toxin is actually covering his place. Hirsch going back towards the site after faking the sound about going towards B main. Can Kakarot expect this though? The fake zone deployed by Hirsch might actually bamboozle Kakarot because he's smoking the spike and he's expecting him to be towards B main. But now, as the time ticks, Hirsch is waiting inside the dark cover. It's all gonna come down to who spots who's first, and Kakarot still moves across.
Oh boy. I'm pretty sure Kakarot was feeling his nerve inside that clutch. As soon as he won that, we saw him take a huge sigh of relief. But still a valiant effort from Hirsch. That was way too close for comfort. Shouldn't have been that close, but as we all know, Reckoning will still have a decent amount of money to go for a force buy. They can, of course, bring the Vandals and Phantoms back on the board once again, considering they did not lose out on any men in the previous round. So they can't afford to keep the heat up on the board, as Flabin will of course try to play things just off of his Blade Storm.
Is that going to be sufficient though? Tries to make this move, but Tricky can also combat this back with his feet. And look at how quickly Metal take the bottom of A. Only Hirsch has been left back in that position to hold this area down, hold the fort, but the aggression is coming towards the C side with the Reckoning being invested. Metal Esports don't fight this. They're giving away the side to Reckoning.
Reckoning using the Reckoning to get the side control in the
Spike
hands.
planted.
And they have managed to flush out every single player off the site so far. And once again, the killing spree starts. And Metal Esports, they're left with no reply to give out. We need some sort of an heroic play to bounce back inside this one, as Easy does find one and also has the lockdown available. But he doesn't want to go and utilize it just yet. Catches way off guard, finds the third one as well. And every single time there's this one man from Metal Esports that just goes huge. And they're somehow able to win it once again.
Yeah, Easy definitely being the hero this time. Resists the temptation of planting that lockdown and instead turns himself into a wrecking ball, man. That smoke that was put up by the Omen was actually so clutch at that moment because it not only allowed him to move closer, but then he just swung out of it and nobody from Reckoning was expecting Easy to swing out. They were all just spamming the top side, spamming wherever the spike would have been. Nobody could place their crosshairs on Easy's head quick enough.
Metal Esports, once again, quite an aggressive approach. They really just don't want to give up that A main control. They want to have it in their hands. And as long as you've got the A long in your hands, it's going to be easy for you. Reckoning Esports. C-side presence is being given away. Alarm bots triggered as well. Lockdown instantly utilized. Good way to force out the utilities from the opponents. And then Reckoning Esports backing off the A-Long once again as they are able to find some nice shots. And the skulls are going to be cracked open. Kakarot and Fox, they go down. But Jay and Tricky, they're fighting their best.
Player standing.
Wow.
Spike down
Everybody
A.
just diving in and out of that smoke. this little area where the door can be broken has broken so many skulls of these players. It's turned into a mini graveyard of sorts. Now he's been left to make the ghosts of his dead teammates proud, to fulfill this 1v2 clutch, and he's wasting no time. He's not even gonna tap the spike, he just wants to go for the fight straight up.
Oh, nice.
And Warrior's ready for this one.
That was a good stack from Reckoning Esports. One guy crouched and one guy standing up. And they were able to shut him down easily. MLT Esports, this time they had quite a solid lead, but finally seems like Reckoning, they found some sort of momentum breaker in their hands. And look at Flabin's economy too. He's got 5,000 credits in his hands all by himself. This man's quite rich. But for middle, they have to go for some broken buys.
Well, it's either a broken buy or a broken half. Hope's broken. There's one Bulldog on Fox, and let's see how he uses this one. He's actually going to anchor deep towards B, while the rest of his teammates who've got inferior weaponry are closing the distance. That's good. I mean, at this rate, Jima the Classic can be somewhat deadly.
Angle checked pretty well. And MLT Esports too. At least the Sheriffs are able to sing some songs of death.
Cover going out.
But Deadly 10 is able to always reply back with some nutty shots of his own. Fox all the way in the back. He does have the Rolling Thunder available, but I'm pretty sure, as they themselves know, that this is not the round you want to use it in. And Flabin, oh, Fox, he thought that he almost killed him, but no, it's going to be the answer. Because he had his Bulldog in the hand, was not able to successfully connect that burst onto his opponent's head. And that's why I lost out that duel. And now as we do move on towards Kakarot, the last man left alive, he's quite softened up with only 60 HP in the hand. This is next to impossible.
Yeah, it is next to impossible, dude. I mean, even if that kill on Flabin was completely materialized, I don't think the 1v3 would have been any easier. So yeah, I mean, he takes his chances, he takes whatever he gets. He's probably gonna try to go and get himself sacrificed so he doesn't get the economic penalty of saving or whatever. I mean, it's not like they can't afford weapons, so that's fine. But hold on, are Reckoning swinging a literal medal at us? They're just swinging at it. Yeah, they're swinging it as if they're trying to hypnotize us. Yeah.
It's an iron medal.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what I mentioned that in the first map, that the Reckoning supporters, they're just swinging an iron medal in the air. And I think so they're trying to point and say that MLT Esports players are iron. I think so. That's what they're trying to say.
And considering it's Reckoning Mantra, I wouldn't even be surprised if that's what they imply. But look at this high-tide booster. It's quite a passive one. Master is only using this high-tide so Metal can't push out of A main, because that's something that they have been doing every single time. Except this round.
As you can see, on the B side, Kakarot's able to find that good opening. Flabin goes down this time. Definitely not a good news for Reckoning Esports, but as long as Deadly 10's alive, we can always expect for that trade, at least to equalize things out. Seekers being used as well to find out how many players are stacking on the A site, and only one Seeker goes towards that, so that means they know there's only one man anchoring down the A side, and it's going to be in the name of Killjoy. Rolling Thunder was being used too to try and stop the site entry, and they have managed to successfully do so, at least delay the entry so far.
You should run.
Yeah, but it's actually good. Reckoning wanted to slow things down anyway. They can use the lockdown. Spam's attempted, and Easy can't break it. Yeah, at this point, he's just gonna have to fall back. He can probably delay them with the Nanostorm setup, but they've already been expended, so now the Spike one will go down, and the Viper Spit makes it so much tougher.
Oh boy, the Viper Spit on the side too. Now it's just 2 more players to go. MLT Esports. Definitely a lot of pressure onto themselves. All this lead they had built up, it's now slowly starting to get nullified. And Master on this lurk, on this Alpha angle. No one expected Master to be there. And he finds a nice kill. And Reckoning Esports able to seal the deal once again. Players having nice smiles on their faces. And Reckoning Esports looking pretty good.
Yeah, they are indeed looking pretty good, and at least now Reckoning Esports are starting to diversify their utility. You know, their Viper screen always goes to its C, meanwhile their Harbor walls were, at least in the previous round, being used to make sure that Metal can't push out.
Let's get this win.
But yeah, that's the first instance of Reckoning switching up their controller utility like that. I've been waiting to see what they bring to the table. I've been waiting for them to make these changes, and now they finally have. Which now puts the ball in Metal's court, you know, because for Metal Esports, in the first 5 rounds of the game, their main plan was to push out of A main. And that's understandable, because Reckoning, once they get control of this region, they have way too many options. But now Metal Esports are choosing to aggress towards B and C instead, which gives them a position to backstab Reckoning. But are they prepared for this? I mean, it's an eco round, so I guess Reckoning don't have too much to fear.
Yeah.
But with all 5 Metal Esports players coming in from the back lines, their focus needs to be somewhere else.
I mean, speaking about not having anything to fear, but still the Sheriff's can sometimes connect some nice shots, and you don't really want to be the prey of that.
Flawless.
But Reckoning Esports, every single player is just ready and waiting for them to funnel out of that site and easily able to claim all the kills for themselves. And you can see Boya is just having smiles. He's having a good time playing this game, and you always love it when the players are having a good time.
Oh, definitely. Both these games have been quite nice, but the fact that Reckoning can still maintain a smile just kind of tells you that things are kind of falling into their favor. There is one concern though. At least on Pearl, the Harbor had its weaknesses. By default, on a map like Pearl, Harbor is stronger on attacking side and not as strong on defense. But on a map like Lotus, the Harbor can really be used on either side because the map geometry is such that it's full of these cut 90-degree angles and such tight corridors. The Harbor util can be used on either side, and now this Harbor, that is Master, he can focus on his performance without having to worry too much about creating an impact in one particular half so that he can make up for the loss in the next. Now he can just spread his impact all throughout the game and be so much more consistent.
I mean, once again, Metal Esports, they've got a breach in their entire agent select. I still feel like that also adds on a plus point on the side of Metal Esports for now, is that breach is quite viable and quite useful on the map of Lotus. I mean, we have seen a lot of impactful plays with breach on this map, and considering this map sometimes can have those choke points where you can use your Tremor pretty nicely, and you can just surprise your opponents and also punish them for making a wrong move. Breach is quite a solid pick, and this is what the opponents are missing. They have the Sky available, which they're sort of using as something they can recon with as well.
Yeah.
Bro, how is this man able to find the picks?
I know, right? Deadly is just on fire today. He's really stepping up to his name, telling us exactly why he chose this name in particular. Plenty of utility invested to clear out the seaside, even though Deadly then had mostly covered the distance. So it tells you that Reckoning are not going to take any chances. Even though they have control of the seaside, they will still use their util. Better to be safe than sorry.
Speak about that in Reckoning Esports this time. Hirsch holding the flank, but his teammates this time are ready to give him some cover fire. Once again, playing on that post plant angle. Last time it didn't really work out, and Kakarot going for the similar type of defuse. But Reckoning Esports are prepped up and ready for this one, as Flabin pushes in, and with the Sheriff is able to find two. Oh, those are some nice shots. And once again, they're just shaking that metal in the air. It's an iron metal. Oh boy.
Yeah, Reckoning always has been one of those teams whose banter is top notch. Sometimes they take it a step further, but that's exactly what makes them so special. It makes them the kind of team that really rubs in that salt into your faces. And if there's a wound, then that's even better. Unfortunately, once again on Nico. This time they're going back to the good old reliable A aggression, but Easy also tries to peek out of C and he gets punished. At least the A players are still alive, and they've covered the distance so much. They've literally positioned themselves at the mouth of Root, and they're probably not going to let anyone from Reckoning get out of this area. They would have had to use Warrior's both flashes to somehow break that crossfire over there, but instead Reckoning decided to go elsewhere. And this time the seaside is relatively empty.
can definitely be quite an easy C-side entry considering MLT Esports, they're on Anika. You cannot always expect to hit those nice, crispy, clean sheriff headshots, and as soon as I say that, Fox came up with a huge whiff, but Voya was still unaware of the fact that there's a man in back trying to take you down. Voya, Sound definitely missing on his side, and he was not able to capitalize in time, so that's why they lost out on that man, but it's still a 3-on-3 scenario. Reckoning being utilized as well. MLT Esports, there's just having so many of these problems to face at the same time. High Tide being used too to block off the waterfalls area. MLT Esports, they started slowly and steadily making it inside the site, but Kakarot from MLT Esports is now starting to feel it.
He's being stuck. Are you serious? Jay actually manages to get it to halfway, and this is incredible. Unlike the main first man area, this one is so much simpler, but they've still got vision denial. Master can see through it all. Reckoning finally take the lead in this half. And yes, that was quite comical, you know. Fox trying to spam away at the sky, but he's just not able to connect the shots. And
Yeah,
what surprises me more isn't the fact that Voya survived for so long, it's the fact that Fox went unchecked for that long.
Yeah. Exactly, as I mentioned, right? I mean, Voya, he could have heard the sound. He should have heard the sound, but he still didn't respond at all. Kept on looking in the front, and I guess his focus was really on to just tackle the flank that was incoming.
Yeah. I mean,
He
in
wasn't
his
able to do
defense,
so.
in their defense, it really would have been really bizarre of Fox to push out of so much utility, right? I mean, there was a harbor wall in his way, a viper wall in his way, and then even the cove was deployed at like the most unopportune moment. So despite all of that, somehow Fox managed to find a way to push through, and you wouldn't really have that kind of a situation propping up every now and then, because not everybody is as hungry for a frag to push out a 3 pieces of utility.
This timeout from Reckoning Esports, even though they have a lead going on back in their favor, they just want to make it an 8-4 half, because once again, as we all know, Lotus is an attack-sided map. So you need as many rounds as possible if you're going to be on the attacking side. So this is where they will try to solidify the first half of the 8-4.
4-4 remaining.
Well, once again, A-main control relinquished by Reckoning Esports, and it seems like they have been quite comfortable in letting this A-main region go. Unlike almost every other team we've seen in VCT lock-in, and even in the 2 matches of VCT Pacific where we were able to see a Lotus, all the attacking side teams contest A-main heavily. If not contest, then at least have some presence. But on several occasions, Reckoning have let this one go.
Spike drop.
And now that MLT Esports recognize that there's no more presence on A main as well as B main, they start to place their chips on the C side. AZ, he was instructed to fall back and regroup with the team, but he just could not get back away in time, and he gets plucked off by that sniper.
Spike planted.
Yeah, Flappin was holding quite a brilliant angle with his op. He knew that when SNH starts to fall back, all I need to do is hold the angle that's up. Because the stairs will, of course, guide him directly in my crosshair. As they move on towards this site, the stun's being utilized as well. Tricky is just gonna straight up slide in Harsh's DMs. And he kills him. As we do know, Master's still on the site. But he gets peeked out by 2 of the players. Reckoning Esports, they're really starting to lose out their grip on this defense. But as soon as I say that, Voya steps up huge with a 4K.
And he makes it look so clean, man. You wouldn't expect this guy to be that deep inside Waterfall. In fact, you wouldn't expect anyone, you know? And this is one signature thing that Reckoning have been using. They almost always try to take Waterfall, no matter where it's from. Whenever there's a C plant, they take it. In the pistol round, we saw them push into halls and go all the way from defender spawn, then towards Waterfall. This time, they just go there directly. So it's quite clear about what kind of positions they want to take in these post plants. And they're not always related to C main, you know, they try to innovate their post plants as well. So that's really interesting by Reckoning Esports.
Exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? That was it for the first half. And as we all know, it's an attacking side of map, so that means we can expect a bounce back even from the side of metal. But we will be able to find that out if that's going to be possible or not after this short break.
Can't for my wings, I need my eggs. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, into the second half, and this time, as we all know, Reckoning Esports will be pushed back on the defense. Now, considering it's an attacking-sided map, things will definitely be way much more difficult for Reckoning Esports, but still, we have seen a lot of those teams that have proven out to be way stronger on defensive side.
Oh, I'm not sure if they're strong, but they're definitely fast. Reckoning Esports, they take seaside control with blitzkrieg speed. But with the amount of footsteps they're giving away, I'm pretty sure that MLT Esports can also recognize that this push has arrived over here, so they're ready to intercept them. Kakarot cleanly takes off Master's head, but does he know that Flabin's over here as well? Flabin missed a couple of shots, but gets the kill regardless.
Gets one, but in the trade of two. Definitely not worth it if you ask me. And now they've got only 3 players left alive to defend 3 different sites. So that's why they're going to decide to stack up the C site once again, but it's a complete A-hit coming in soon enough. The timing on that Nanoswarm activation was incredible considering there was no information given away when MLT Esports is going to start funnel on the site. And MLT Esports, as soon as they make it on the site, they will get an easy plant down. Now the call's being made, and this is where the post plant will begin. And this will be quite a tough one to retake.
Yeah, it is indeed going to be a tough one. But I'm glad you pointed out about that timing thing on the Nanoswarm. We saw this so many times, even in the previous game. The read both these teams have on each other. Incredible. The flash this time, it's even better. And easy, he's bold enough to go ahead and peek even while he's reloading. So, hats off to this man. But as they drop into the side, Tricky will drop their bodies on the floor. Warrior snaps, and G snaps back. Back and forth, these trades go in, and MLT Esports finally come out on top. They should let them cover up the deficit to some extent.
Oh man, MLT Esports supporters. Definitely they're looking quite enthusiastic. But as the map of Lotus continues, and MLT Esports, they get the first round of the second half on the... As soon as MLT Esports this time, they start to move in on the C site, things will be a little different for them. Because it's a Marshall just waiting for them to funnel in his crosser. And if Flabin over here is greeted with success, and if he's able to land the shots, this can prove out to be huge for Reckoning.
He's spotted, still tries to take a shot before he falls back, but this cloudburst won't allow him to go all the way. He still makes that daring crossing and ready to peek again. With the utility being thrown at him, it will be a miracle if he escapes alive, and he does. Now he's regrouped with the rest of his forces. Smoke in the way doesn't let Reckoning take any pot shots, and the plant will go down, but damn, you have to appreciate the boldness of Flabin. His willingness to stay in face of all that utility.
Speaking about the utilities, I mean, in general, Reckoning Esports' utility usage is just so good. It's a 3-on-2 scenario. Reckoning Esports, they start to move in. And, this time, things are a little difficult for them. Flabin was able to find one, but Kakarot once again clutches it out for his team. From MLT Esports on the map of Lotus, Kakarot is the one stepping things up by a mile. Even on the defending side, Kakarot was there getting those kills, putting those numbers on the table. And now even on the attacking side, Kakarot's there to trade things out and clutch it out for his team.
Yeah, and it's not just Kakarot, but the way the rest of his team also plays along with him. Kakarot was just being such an annoying pest. He was making so much noise towards Mound, and he basically forced the entirety of Reckoning Esports to focus on him towards C-Long and not check for Tricky. He was still underneath. And that's what got him a free kill as well.
Tricky. Interesting. Didn't get the orb in his hands. Decided to cancel the take at the last. anyone yet on the B site.
Toxins going up.
Because at the last second, we saw Master just falling back, so he's still left undetected.
But
MLT Esports,
Tricky
they're
didn't-
quite indecisive.
Tricky didn't take that off because he wanted to let Jay take it, and now he's got the Seekers online.
I've got your trail.
Holding a close angle with the Vandal, and now the Seeker's being utilized as well. Flabin instantly falls back, he knows. Definitely not a safe angle to hold on to. Flabin's always there trying to find some aggressive off angles, but usually he's being forced out because of the utils. He's able to find one for himself, and Voya is there to try things out in the favor of Reckoning Esports. It's a 4-on-3 scenario. Kakarot needs to be neutralized as quick as possible. As long as that man's alive, there's going to be a huge threat on the map. But now Kakarot's being softened up, nothing much can be done. And Voya once again with a 4K steps things up.
What a smirk on his face, man, after getting a multi-kill like that. It's so impressive to watch. But, Necro, I have a crucial question. I don't know if it's just me not paying attention, or did MLT Esports take control of this site via tree, and Reckoning never seemed to use it. I don't remember a single round where Reckoning took control of A main on their attacking side, and they used the the rotating door to get into the side. I don't remember doing that at all. Did they do it? I don't think they did.
No, they didn't.
They did not,
They
right?
just straight up funneled in.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
didn't.
they funneled in. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm not tripping. Metal used that rotating door, and it works out for them. They get the plant, but Reckoning never used it in the first half, so let's hope they don't regret it later.
I mean, I don't think so. It's still going to make a lot of difference, right? As long as you're able to get those boards or those kills
Yeah.
in the early half of the any rounds. As long as you have the man advantage, that's all that matters. Because it's quite a huge map, and you want to make sure you have all the teammates alive. But especially if an early man advantage is taken away from the side of attackers, then that's huge. Considering you need to defend a 3-sided map, this is quite huge. With only leftover 4 players, it sounds pretty difficult.
Off shot didn't clear out Flavin, and now he strikes. Jay loses his life because of it. Tricky needs to make a difference. He's the one playing point, trying to burn them alive, but this light beam gun has run out of all his fun. And poor Kakarot got sprayed down by 4 people. Reckoning Esports put up a firing squad in front of his face.
Indeed, they did. And you brought up that entire conversation about the A site. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely quite interesting to see Reckoning not go towards that A site a lot. Their main pressure was building on the C site. We saw them going for that C side over and over again, but right off the bat, Reckoning Esports never went for that A control. Never.
And
they went for that A control later on in the mid-between.
Yeah, and even if they did, it was mostly just by smoking off the stairway and then getting into the site via the regular entrance and not using the rotating door as much. So yeah, that's something. It's quite bold of Reckoning Esports to not exploit that rotating door. They did exploit the other rotating doors between B and C quite often, though.
Yeah,
they did do that quite a lot. So
the main reason why they didn't use those doors is because, as I said, they were not going for the control right off the bat, so it was not like a complete stomp on the A side. They would usually go on the A side if their plan was to fake C and then go on A, or if things wouldn't work out on the C side, then they would go towards the A side. So usually if you're going to utilize the rotating doors, it's going to give a sound cue away to the opponents, and that's going to confirm that the side take is coming in. So you wouldn't really want to use those rotating doors, so that's why they pretty much try to make it in through the main way. So they were we saw them shift walking in, and as soon as they got the side control, they started stomping once again.
Yeah, that is the way to play contact plays, man. And Reckoning Esports were using contact plays quite often in that first half. So yeah, it tells you a lot about how these teams approach this map. But once again, this time, Reckoning Esports have deployed their Viper wall diagonally, which cuts across B and a little bit of the B link as well. But the other one, High Tide, it was used to just make sure Metal can't get out of A main, and that's okay because Metal don't want to. This is quite a passive approach for MLT Esports. They're just waiting outside. They're hoping that Reckoning will overextend, but that's not happening. So now the ball's in Metal's court.
A quick burst was there, but Reckoning Esports, they were just ready Flabin on top of that wall. No one expected that man to be there. And Voya and Flabin, usually these two players try to play off of each other. And once again, the duo shines in quite well. The utility utilization from Deadly 10's on the point. Finds one. A quick tap is going to be there. But Fox this time retaliates back. And he's all by himself on the B side. It's 1-on-3 scenario. Definitely doable. But it's a little tough.
Yeah, it's quite tough. Okay, apparently not, says the coach of Reckoning Esports. He's got these notes on the left side of his book, and then on the other page he just writes easy in such bold lettering. And why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he when Flabin's able to get kills like that, you know? Metal used quite a lot of utility to clear that area out. They had the Trailblazer deployed, they used the Breach util. Tricky even threw in a Relay Bolt if I'm not wrong, and despite all of that, Flabin's able to get a double.
To be honest, I just feel like Metal Esports really just caught off guard with this Lotus pick. I'm not gonna lie.
Probably, yeah.
I personally think they just really got caught off guard. The main plan for Metal Esports probably has to be that, okay, in the first two bans, we'll go for the basic bans, which we don't like to play, and then later on, we'll try to ban Lotus, considering it hasn't been played a lot. And now, they're considering the opponents just picked up Lotus out of nowhere, they're being completely caught off guard. But at least for now, inside this round, the trades did happen back and forth. And Tricky was able to find that nice opening, that nice duel, which was being isolated in his sphere.
The tension's building up, man. Lockdown delays things. And instead of planting his nano swarms and everything, you've got Easy on the prowl. He's going in for the fights. And yeah, now he regrets it. Master blows his head off. Flabin chimes in as well. You've got Tricky baiting in the side towards the little mold inside, and this is quite an unusual position to hold. Reckoning Esports have no problem cleaning things up.
Indeed they don't. And Reckoning Esports, this is going to be the match point for them, and also the match point. Once again, the coach is showing easy. Oh man, I wasn't really able to...
Oh no.
I wasn't really able to understand his writing that he wrote down on his notebook. I'm not gonna lie, it's quite an interesting way, or his handwriting is quite interesting. It's one of those doctors, the way they write. That's what his handwriting
is. It's still better than mine, I think. If you see my handwriting, yeah, I mean, some people say my handwriting is decent, some people say it's bad, but hey, when I write easy on my notebook in huge letters, I think everyone can understand it.
Oh yeah, in huge letters, everyone can understand it, but I was trying to read his notes. I was trying to read into the insides of the team, but I didn't understand anything. I guess that handwriting really plays a huge role in not leaking those strats. But all 5 players this time of Metal Esports just stacking towards or outside the A. And we talked about utilizing the opening, rotating doors, the trees being spammed as well, making sure no one's going to be hiding behind the tree area. And now the A side is easily being taken in their hands. Trick is able to stroll on the side so far. The A side's control is there, and Reckoning Esports, they're playing this quite patiently. They're going to let them have the side control.
Yeah, and that's because Reckoning have so many cool ultimates to use. They've already used the Lockdown and the Seekers. If they want, they can even use Master's ultimate, but for now, this is fine. Oh, never mind. The moment I say it, they invest it. They're going all in. Everything's been thrown at them except the kitchen sink, and Metal Esports are still holding on. Tricky dives deep inside. He's taking names and kicking ass, and at this range, he can be absolutely lethal. Flabin hunted down to the ends of the earth. They don't want him to save this op, and he's just hoping to go for a quick enough peek. He's hoping that they won't extend this far ahead, and they do not. Flabin gets to live another day.
Oh, Metal Esports, they barely squeezed this round away from Reckoning Esports, but still the operator's going to be on the board. I guess the retake plan Reckoning Esports had didn't really work out this time, and Metal Esports were able to do just a good job in overall doing so.
Yeah.
We also did see the Rolling Thunder being used, but now the main problem is that Reckoning Esports and even Metal Esports, they haven't really got their hands on a lot of ultimates. Considering Metal Esports' main key reason of winning the previous round was the ult, and now they're not going to have that ult anymore. Kakarot does have From the Shadow available.
Here.
Yeah, I mean, so many ults deployed to get that round on the
Scout
bag.
destroyed.
Even Harsh ended up using his ultimate. I didn't even catch that, so that's quite interesting. And yeah, sure, Fox can help the Rolling Thunder, but one ultimate versus 3, maybe even 4, it really doesn't add up. So, Reckoning Esports don't mind giving away this round, and especially when they still got the op on board. It's not like they're fully broke yet, so Master and Hoya still got some money. It shouldn't be a problem. But this op, that is definitely gonna make things a little difficult, tad bit difficult for Metal. They don't have any other smokes to place over here, so they will have to just hope that the Nano Swarms push Flabin back, but there's always a risk of him re-peeking the same angle, so somebody needs to mark that 24/7 now.
4 players left alive from Metal. Mad advantage now taken away from Reckoning Esports, but still nothing can be concluded just yet off of that. Jay's the only man on the site, but unfortunately he gets caught off guard because his teammate's backup isn't there, and the backup's pretty much nullified because of those snake bites. So his teammates weren't able to move inside the seaside in time, and now even the Nano Swarms are there to just herd out so more, and it seems like Reckoning Esports, for them the stars are aligned. This round might just be theirs.
Oh, the block just about denied, and everybody just dives inside. Reckoning don't want to wait. They don't want to let Metal Esports get into post-plants. They go straight inside as soon as they hear the tap. And they deny Metal Esports their win. Reckoning Esports continued their dominance at the top of their group, or almost at the top of their group.
Reckoning Esports, a great way to close out the entire series, and Flabin once again dances. Oh boy, this man, I love his vibes. Vibe check completed, done. Perfectly on the point.
Yeah, dude. Flabin is indeed a vibe. He's always so cheerful, it seems. And he's also the kind of person who will trash talk more than anybody else, so he just really fits into this team. Amazing stuff by Reckoning Esports. The Lotus pick definitely surprised Metal, and it refreshed everybody over here, because we've been waiting for the Lotus pick all this time. We didn't get to see it yet. It's been out for a while, but this personally has been my first Lotus cast ever, so I was quite happy with the way it turned out.
Same, it was my first ever Lotus cast ever, and it was quite an entertaining game, of course. I mean, it was the pick of Reckoning Esports, so we expected them to dominate on Lotus, and that's what exactly happened. At the start, of course, though, Metal Esports, this started off quite well on the defending side, but then later on, as soon as Reckoning Esports were able to get the grip on what exactly is going on the map, they pretty much started dominating the entire first half, and then also it seemed like they went through, or pretty much rolled through on the second half as well.
Yeah, dude. This was really nice from Reckoning Esports. Some really stable stuff. And it's not like Metal Esports did not try. Metal Esports also had some very refreshing things to show us. Unfortunately, there's only so much that they can do against Reckoning.
Exactly. Unfortunately, it just wasn't really there, and as we all said, it just felt like Metal Esports were being surprised by this pick. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to talk about that map of Lotus, so we will be talking about it after this short break.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the beach, I get it in.
The all-new i20, born magnetic.
Making dreams come true and memories happier.